takes guts. You got to dig down deep to gut it out. Keep on going again and again and again until you make it happen, because you know that it's possible. Now, what do you do during the hard times, Les? Here's what you must do. Number one is you must have faith. Paul said you must have the faith to call forth those things that be not as though they were. Judge not according to appearances. Don't judge your circumstances and the possibilities for your future based upon what you have.
YouTube. Did you all hear that? So even though I may not be the best at what I'm doing, it says the circumstances. Don't judge the circumstances. You see it, you call it as it will be. Okay, and that's what I want you to do as well. If you're dealing with some difficulty right now, or some difficult subject, or some difficult at work, it won't always be. That thing can change. So, hello YouTube, this is Demetria Farewell coming to you with week 5, Cold School Chronicle. Let's dive right in. This week was very invigorating. Well, the learning strategy that I employed this week, you all, I actually started writing down my code on some index cards. So I wrote everything out on the different aspects, and this was of Python, because I had an assessment this Friday that I was really kind of bugging out about, because I wanted to do well on it. I actually needed to do well on it, because now they're assessing us, really do we need to, what we need to actually stay in the program to be effective. So, I really needed to pass this test. So I wrote my code down on index card, and I studied up until Friday morning. Even got up early Friday morning. Did a run about 4 o'clock that morning. Got back about 4:45. Got dressed and actually started reading my code then. So, took that test on yesterday. I know Monday if I pass that test. So, you guys keep your prayers coming. Alright, so the concepts of syntax errors is what I'm still having a couple of issues with. And again, syntax errors, I think I explained a little bit last week on how you actually make the program run. Everything has to be in order, or it's going to read a name error, a syntax error, or type error. Those are the different errors that you can actually receive in programming. So still kind of dealing with those issues a little bit. So my weekly highs and lows, I guess my weekly low was, fiending over this test that I had to take Friday. And my high was our new concepts that we're learning this week. I am so excited about HTML and CSS, because what that does is it kind of actually pulls everything that you've been learning together, and you're actually starting to do stuff. We actually built some web pages this week, and I was so excited on those concepts, and I'm really trying to actually be very effective at that, because that actually lets you know why you're doing this. I mean, just coding and learning all the semicolons and all the different languages, JavaScript, Python, CSS, HTML, that's one thing, but when you see it in play, it's a totally different beast. So I loved it. Matter of fact, our project this Friday was actually replicating the Google website. So I was just so excited over that. And I got my website to look halfway decent. A couple of little things I actually had to work on was getting some of the words and my little buttons down in the right places. But I was just like overwhelmingly excited about being able to do that. And it just made it all worthwhile on all the struggles I've had on trying to learn the language, So the time spent that this week is, again, I told you I just been trying to, I was going to the library last week. So this week, what I did was I did the flashcards. So I created the flashcards, and I just took 2 or 3 hours a night. I would go over my little flashcards, and I would actually start not only looking at the flashcards, I was coding the information, because that's the one thing that I understand that's going to put me to another area or another level of this coding is actually doing the coding. So looking at it and doing everything, that's fine, but implementing the information and putting it in, letting it see how it works. Because it was certain questions that, I can actually copy the code from the teacher. They can get it to run and I cannot. That's a problem for me. A big problem. So I'm still working on that. But my copy to create program that I told you all about last week is I want to create an affirmations book or app, something that will send, if not daily affirmations or weekly affirmations. That's what I want to work on. I've actually started looking at some covers for that. So what I want to do is kind of create the cover first, since now I know how to do a little styling in CSS. CSS is a system where you actually use to style or upgrade your code, because HTML, the hypertext markup language, remember we all learned that. We learned that a couple of weeks ago, what that meant. So that HTML is just a coding page where you only show text. CSS is actually the engine behind it that makes it pretty. Like Google, in order to do the Google website, I use a lot of, CSS techniques. I have to put the background color in there, putting the little buttons on there where it says, where it says Google search and I'm feeling lucky. Those are actually buttons, and so with those buttons, I create those in HTML, but if I wanted like a background color on them or something of that nature, I had to use CSS. But then also, to get the buttons where they belong, I had to use CSS, because you have to put the right pixels in there, the right padding, you use width, height, and to actually get those buttons to go where they're supposed to go on the page, okay? So that was really, really, again, exciting. So one of the things that I did this week that were kind of over the top was I actually was at my son's football game last night. I went, and it was in Panola, Mississippi. So I knew that would take me at least about 2-3 hours before I got back home. So I actually took my computer out there to the game, and I was actually still so excited. I was still trying to actually style my web page, the Google web page that I turned in already on what I was going to finish. But actually, I still had some other things I needed to do to it. So I was out there at the game working on my project. So I actually got the buttons to move a little bit. So I'll be working on that a little bit later, probably today or tomorrow, trying to get those buttons to do exactly what I wanted to do. It's intricate details that I'm really excited about. So, YouTube, I am making it. I'm getting a little bit past, just a tiny bit past surviving. So now I'm just trying to encourage myself to try to go to the very next level. Today, I'm actually going to a coding seminar at Starbucks today from 1 to 3. They have a coding event. Thursday, there's a coding event that I'm going to have. And then next Sunday at 1, I'm actually going to another coding event. So I'm trying to indoctrinate myself with a lot of the, just people that are surrounding with this, to try to get myself acclimated or just to know about what's going on, because, that kind of helps, I guess, to be around other people that's learning this thing just as I. So I'm just trying to do all I can to further myself or better myself in this thing. So again, YouTube, I appreciate you listening. And remember, as always, I'm not just doing this for me, but I'm also doing it for you. Because why? Because if there's anything hard in your life or things you thought you could not accomplish, the only thing that you should do is dive right in and try it. Because nothing beats a failure but a try. Peace out. Love ya. Have a great day.